Charlie Cook. I'm recently added to the board of directors, and you know, it's my privilege to be here. This is the third Bull Riding Hall of Fame induction, and like I said, I know I was the second choice, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. But anyway, you know, we're here at the Cowtown Coliseum. I mean, we're here with people who have added to rodeo history, and I can't think of a better place to be than the Cowtown Coliseum, which the history that this place has. I think probably any of us that live in Road Bulls can say that we were here. It's kind of fun to come back here and know that you're still here and you're part of this history. You know, today we're going to induct 6 bull riders, 2 announcers, bullfighter, and of course a legendary bull, and I'm glad, you know, to be here to be a part of it. Today's MCs are going to be Don Gay and Pam Minnick. You know, you've got an 8-time world champion calf roper, women's calf roper, and I'm very pleased to announce them to kick off today's event. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Charlie. Donnie and I are happy to be back with you this year. This, as Charlie mentioned, this is the third Bull Rider Hall of Fame induction, and we were the inaugural MCs, and it's kind of one of those jobs that hopefully we'll have for a long, long time.
Well, we'd like to have them, and I think this is, I just was visiting with Bill Putnam. I'm in every Hall of Fame that there is for rodeo and bull riding. And this is the only one that I really enjoy.
Woo! You can applaud.
You know, all of the events are important. But when I was about Blaine's size down there, I mean, I could see Jim Shoulders or Harry Tompkins or Freddie Greer or David Glover walking through, coming to the house to have breakfast. And I'm sure I was a worrywart because I never shut up. And something that follows me around, but I'm telling you,
Not say a word.
I love bull riding.
Well, and as Charlie mentioned, Cowtown Coliseum, built in 1908. Many of you don't know, but this was the home of where they first rode bucking bulls. Prior to this, they rode steers. They first rode bulls here in this arena, and also these side delivery bucking chutes, which you guys all know as bucking chutes now. That was instigated here as well, because it used to be they came out forward, just like calf roping does now. So the side delivery chutes first made their mark here. Bulls made their mark here. This is history. This is the Bull Riding Hall of Fame. We'd like to bring up now one of our honorees today, and a guy that's no stranger to you all, and hopefully you caught his service this morning. Please welcome, for a very special invocation, Rob Smets.
Donnie, when you said you were about his size, were you any bigger? I couldn't help it.
I was going to say, who built this podium here?
All right. Our gracious and Heavenly Father, we pause in the midst of this festive occasion, mindful and thoughtful of the guidance that you have given us. As Cowboys, Lord, we don't ask for any special favors. We ask only that you let us compete in this arena as in life's arena. We don't ask to never break a barrier, draw around steers that are hard to throw, or a shoot fight in a horse or a bull that's impossible to ride. We only ask that you help us to compete as honest as the horses we ride, and in a manner as clean and pure as the wind that blows across this great land of ours. So that when we do make that last ride that is inevitable for us all to make, to a place up there where the grass is green, lush, and stirrup high, and the water runs cool, clear, and deep, you tell us as we ride in that our entry fees are paid. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Rob. I know that many of you have heard that Cowboys prayer, first spoken, I guess, by the legendary Clem McSpadden. You'll hear more about Clem later. And Rob said that he was very humbled to give that Cowboys prayer this morning, because in his opinion, that is Clem McSpadden's prayer, but I think it was fitting to today. Don't you all agree? All right.
I do.
Now we're going to kick this off like we do most rodeos. Usually, for rodeo fans, it means bareback riders, your horses are in the chutes. But today, we've got David Harding here.
Come on, David. He's going to sing our national anthem. Bareback riders, get a time.
Thank you. Everybody sing along. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ring clear, the bombs were singing air, came through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Very nice, David. I tell you, that takes a lot of nerve right there, because that's probably the hardest song to sing well on planet Earth, and to do it at 10:30 in the morning, you know.
I'd like to bring up, of course, the Bull Riding Hall of Fame founder. You all know him. You've communicated with him. He and his wife, Tammy, have just been the backbone of this organization along with their board of directors. Bill and Tammy, special awards this morning, our Legacy Awards. The Legacy Awards, do you want to talk about the Legacy Awards and why you established this?
Absolutely, we've got a lot to talk about, and we'll certainly start with that. But right out of the gate here this morning, folks, I have the blessing and the privilege of giving all the glory and all the gratitude to our Father God. It is through His blessing, His favor, that we are here in this grand old hall, this Coliseum here today. And there are so many.
Check, check.
There we go, thank you, Don. Magic touch. So many people we want to thank, so many people we want to talk about, but glory to God for us all being here. Safe travels, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. We're going to have a great time. This is a celebration, and a grand celebration at that. You know, I want everyone, if you will, I want to invite you just to really focus and just open up your mind and think about for a minute where we're at and what it is we're doing. This is the most historic and legendary rodeo arena in the world. Right here where we're at. We're doing it right here on this arena floor, where beginning in 1918 with the world's first indoor rodeo right here in the Coliseum, which means next year, 2018, we're going to celebrate the 100-year centennial of that world's first indoor rodeo arena. That first indoor rodeo right here in the Cowtown Coliseum. That's big. That is huge. And the legacies and the legends that we're going to talk about here today, there could not be a more perfect or fitting setting anywhere in the world to do what we do than right here. And we're very grateful to our great partners and friends here at the Cowtown Coliseum, Hub Baker, Clay Barlow, Tim Lanier, Bailey, the entire staff and crew here at the Cowtown Coliseum have just been tremendous partners for us to be able to work and do what we do here. And we're very grateful for that. Pam Minnick, Donnie Gay, folks, so many of you know that when you're talking rodeo, when you're talking talking bull ride, when you're talking Western lifestyle, and Pam Minnick and Donnie Gay are doing the talking, you have the very best of the best. And what a blessing it is to have you both with us every year to celebrate this occasion. You know, our members, our partners, our board of directors, I want to take a minute to recognize some of our board members. Red Door, Red, where you at? Thank you so much. Charlie Cook, who kicked us off this morning. Bill McRoberts, thank you, my friend, for all you do. Tammy Putnam, the hardest working lady in the Bull Riding Hall of Fame. And if it wasn't, I can promise you, if it wasn't for this lady right here, we wouldn't be here. That's just a fact. So Tammy, thank you for all you do. Josh O'Byrne is on our board of directors. Unfortunately, Josh works in Africa, lives in Canada, and the good news for Josh is the work he works over there, they gave him a promotion, and along with that promotion came a schedule conflict, but he was unable to be with us. So thinking about Josh, and thank you for all you do. Our committee members, Larry Stutzman, thank you, Larry, for all you do. Barry Gulo, committee member, thank you. All our membership. I want to briefly let everybody know how our inductee classes were created. It's a 4-month process. Beginning in September, nomination forms are mailed out to all of our membership. Our nominating season is September and October. And then at the end of October, those ballots or those nominations are reviewed by our inductions committee. And the ballot is created. The ballots go back out to the members, the voting, November, December, and we announce each new class in January at the first of the year. And when you look at the names on our inaugural class, our class of 2016, and this year's class of 2017, it becomes very obvious that the people that are doing the nominating and the voting are educated. They know this sport, and they understand what a bull riding Hall of Fame should look like. And when you look at those names in these 3 classes that we have now, I'd have to say that the right pieces are being put in the right places at the right time. And that's something that we can all give ourselves a hand for, that are voting on our nominees and our inductees. I think let's give it up one time for the people who make that possible. Thank you. One thing before Donnie runs me off the stage here, I want to invite everyone at the conclusion of the ceremonies today. We want to have as many people in attendance as possible to join us on the front steps of the Coliseum out here. We're going to take group pictures and group videos. Our inductees, our attendees, everybody, come on out there and let's get some great photos. I want to invite you to take lots of pictures here today. This is a picture-friendly event. Share with the world. Let everybody know what's happening here. And enjoy this celebration today. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us. Thank you.
Right. Well, the Legacy Awards are given for people that have been instrumental in supporting the Bull Rider Hall of Fame. The first Legacy Award, and none of the Legacy Award winners know who they are. There will be 3 given today. And the first one is going to the guy that's standing beside me, Donnie Gay. Donnie is not only an honoree in the Bull Rider Hall of Fame, but as Bill mentioned and I mentioned, from the very first induction ceremony down in Boerne, Texas, 3 years ago, Donnie has not only been available at the beck and call, he's donated his time, but no one can dispute what he's done to promote bull riding in the U.S. and around the world. So our first Legacy Award winner today goes to, surprise, Donnie Gay.
All right, well, thank you. Pretty unexpected. It's going to cost you extra, Bill. I guess legacy really means old. You know, so.
Wait, I got one last year, so
You
don't
did?
say
Oh,
that.
excuse me. I'm in trouble again. Okay, well, we'll just move right along. Get another old person up here, Bill.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Tammy Putnam. The next Legacy Award winner has traveled 4,000 miles to be here. I mean, think about that. That is like going from LA to New York and meeting Denny Flynn in Arkansas or something. So our next Legacy Award winner is Bill McRoberts. He is very dedicated to the veterans. He's dedicated to rodeo, and he is dedicated to photography, and he loves taking pictures here. So Bill McRoberts. And he's a board member also.
Okay, so who's going to take the picture?
I'd just like to say thank you and what an honor it's been for me the last couple of years to be a part of this organization and help them in any way I can. Most of my work is done 4,000 miles away trying to find money and stuff like that to help, but it was worth the drive down here this year to be a part of this. Thank you all so much.
I have the honor of presenting our third Legacy Award of the day. And it's going to a dear friend, a personal friend, and a friend of our organization. He's been with us since the beginning, been to every event. He's got quite a legacy himself, being a rodeo competitor for many years and several events all around Cowboy. And very noted and acknowledged and awarded judge as well. And he's here with us today, and he goes above and beyond to help, contribute, and to share our vision and our mission with the world. And it's a proud moment for me to introduce Legacy Award winner Larry Stutzman. Larry, come on up here, buddy.
You know, this Legacy Award for guys like Larry Stutzman, Bill McRoberts, you know, you don't have to be a world champion bull rider to be a real champion of the sport of bull riding, because without the photographers, without the supporters, without the shoot help, without the arena help, we don't have much bull riding out there. Larry, we appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you. This is quite a shock. As everyone knows, I could compete with Donnie about talking. But right now, you know, I joined this organization. It's about a year old. I called Bill and I said, "Can I do anything to help?" And he said, "You're welcome to come help us." So, you know, once a bull rider, always a bull rider. I got too fat to get on, too crippled to ride it. So, you know, I'm working for the Bull Riding Hall of Fame and promoting the sport. And I'm very humbled and honored to receive this award.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, you bet.
Surprised you did win.
Yes, you did.
J31 was a pro rodeo Hall of Fame bucking bull who was infamous throughout the sport of bull riding, one of the most popular sports of rodeo. Bodacious was commonly referred to as the world's most dangerous bull, and hence won the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Bucking Bull of the Year in both 1994 and 1995. He also won the Professional Bull Riders World Champion Bull in 1995, making him the only bull to win both awards, which he did in the same exact year. Today, Bodacious has just as much of a fan following, if not bigger, than when he was alive. In a PBR article written June 29, 2015, entitled "The Memorable Bulls of the PBR," Bodacious is listed as one of the most famous bulls of all time, and he was at the end of his career when the PBR was just beginning. Bodacious was dubbed the world's most dangerous bull due to his habit of jerking guys down and headbutting them. Many cowboys tried to ride Bodacious in his career, and many of the ones who did attempt to ride fell victim to his headbutt and no longer had the face God gave to them. Unfortunately, statistics were not as well maintained at that time, but generally, records show that Bodacious would have attempted more than 130 times. Some say 8, and others say 10 times that he'll only give up a qualified ride. Clint Brenger and Tuff Hedeman, who both rode him for a qualified ride, are two of the more well-known bull riders who have made that distinction. Bodacious spent a well-deserved retirement on his owner's Sammy Andrews Ranch, who is here with us today to accept the induction into the 2017 Bull Rider Hall of Fame in the Bucking Bull category. Although he did make an occasional tour, he is buried at that very ranch, and fans still visit his grave to honor him there. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the family the great bovine athlete that we all call and love Bodacious.
We are happy to induct this year the yellow whale, the beast, from East Texas, the great bucking bull Bodacious. You know, there were lots of people that thought lots of things about him. There's no doubt about it. He's one of the greatest bucking bulls of all time. I fought bulls several times where the bull was at, and actually was there in one of his most notable meetings, and that would have been the meeting at the PBR finals with Tuff Hedeman and Bodacious, where they met head to head. And I was fighting bulls there with Jimmy Anderson, Joe Bumgardner, and Lloyd Ketchum. And the biggest thing that I remember about it is when their heads met, it sounded like somebody took a baseball bat to a watermelon. And I guess the biggest thing that I do remember too is, as hard as he hit Tuff, he never knocked him out. So if you ever want to take a swing at Tuff Hedeman, you might want to think twice.
Well, we're going into our first inductee category. This is the bulls. And our first honoree is a bull that probably, when they say legendary bulls, and the one that, as I travel across the United States, to people that don't even know bull riding, they know Bodacious. J31 of Andrews Rodeo Company, Sammy Andrews. Talk a little bit about that bull.
Well, it's a darn good thing that bull wasn't going when I was going, or I'd have went somewhere else if I had a choice. Bodacious was, in my opinion, he was one of, if not the greatest eliminators that I'd ever seen. In my day, an eliminator was a bull that nobody hardly could ride. And if you did, the judges weren't smart enough to mark you for what you just accomplished, and you couldn't win anything. That was why the eliminator pen was created, because you had all these bulls that were out 40 times a year and only been ridden one time, but they scored 70 points on them. And, you know, and I'll go ahead and say it, spinning bulls are much easier to ride than bulls that are really wanting to get you on the ground. And that right there is what set Bodacious apart. When he was little, he really bucked and got in the air and kicked and turned back, and he'd go either way, do what he wanted to, get you on the ground. And then whenever he metastasized and, you know, had muscles in his ears, you know, it got to be an absolute monster. Then, you know, you just had to shut your eyes, and I think that's what Tuff did, and, you know, and I did too about the same time. The bull was absolutely incredibly athletic, and sure enough bad. And if there's one that needs to be in any pen of the scariest, most dangerous bucking bucks alive, it'd be J31 Bodacious.
Let me give you a little bit of his stats. PRCA Bucking Bull of the Year in 94 and 95. PBR World Champion Bull in 95, making the only bull to win both awards, which he did in the same year. 135 career outs, 8 qualified rides. And one of the greatest rides in bull riding history was Tufts' 95-point trip on Bodacious at Long Beach, California in 1993. But when the world thinks of Bodacious, they think of him at the PBR World Championships at the MGM in Las Vegas back in, I think it was 94. Is Sammy here?
Yeah, Sammy.
Oh, very good.
Come on up here, Sammy Andrews. Y'all give a round of applause for as good a bull man as ever been on the planet. Sammy Andrews. Andrews Rodeo Company.
I didn't even see you sneak in. How are you?
Well, I remember when we started out teeing and in these two here, the commentators and everything that used to aggravate the hound having me go to the feed store the next day and say Donnie Gay said it was like this. But
Yard.
yeah, well, Yard is famous for that. But no, Bo he made his mark there. And, when we started out, Dr. Phil Sumner, he was just a 2-year-old, and we broke him out at Lufkin, Texas. They rode him right off the bat, left there and went to Houston. He gave Cody Lambert a shaving scar, and I think that's when his legacy kind of got started there. Anyway, he opened a lot of doors for us. One that didn't open, he kind of kicked down. And we got to go to Chicago and Las Vegas, open casinos, car dealerships, restaurants. It's kind of humbling that a bull can earn that much respect. And everybody knows what you're talking about when you say Bodacious. And I guess my famous deal that everybody always asks me about, they did a tape one time when I was in the airport. And this lady asked me what I did for a living. And I had a hat and everything. I said, stock contractor. She said, well, what's that? And I told her I was going to provide horses and bulls, calves and steers. And she said, have you ever heard of the bull Bodacious? I said, yes, ma'am, I own him. She said, yeah, sure, son. But anyway, it's an honor, especially to be up here with these guys. Usually I had to follow Bob Tom everywhere we went. Anybody want to talk about Bodacious? It's kind of embarrassing after getting behind him. It always made me think of what my English teacher said. Mr. Andrews, you need to pay attention to your verbs and adjectives. I said, no, ma'am, I'm going to be a cowboy. I don't need to know all that. And believe me, you kind of need to. Youngsters need to pay attention in school.
To your nouns and verbs.
Yes.
I'm Sammy Andrews, here to accept the award for the Bull Bodacious. Bodacious is Bucking Bull of the Year in 94 and 95, and we shoot, I don't know, let me start all over, I don't know what to say. I'm Sammy Andrews, here to accept the award for Bodacious Bucking Bull of the Year in the PRCA in 94 and 95, and Bo's opened a lot of doors for us and kicked down a few that didn't come open. So anyway, we're very proud to have a bull that's kind of like Elvis Presley, more famous dead than alive.
Born on November 9th, 1925, on a ranch near Bushy Head in Rogers County, Oklahoma, Clem McSpadden became the Sport of Rodeo's unofficial #1 ambassador. McSpadden attended public school in Olugua and later the University of Redlands in California, North Texas Agricultural College, and the University of Texas before completing a degree at Oklahoma State University in 1948. His service to our country is where he served with the United States Navy that came during World War II. McSpadden entered rodeo as a calf roping and bulldogging contestant, but quickly shifted his interest into announcing and rodeo management. He called more of the sports action than any other man behind the microphone, and in the 1960s he became the first announcer from the United States to work the Calgary Stampede. At that venue, he developed the technique of announcing on horseback. Other honors included selection to announce the Presidential Rodeo for President Ronald Reagan in Washington, D.C. in 1986. The Presidential Rodeo Cowboys Association named him the PRCA Announcer of the Year, and for 20 years he was the general manager of the National Finals Rodeo while it was held in Oklahoma City. Today's inductee, Clem McSpadden, also served as a contract director for the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, Starting in 1963 while developing real estate and running his ranch near Chelsea, McSpadden was the author to the well-known and often used Rodeo Cowboy Prayer that is used by many announcers throughout the country to open up thousands of rodeo performances. That being said, it is my extreme honor to welcome Rod Smets to recite the legendary Rodeo Cowboy's Prayer.
Our gracious and heavenly Father, we pause in the midst of this festive occasion, mindful of the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. As cowboys, Lord, we don't ask for any special favors. We ask only that you will let us compete in this arena as in the arena of life. We don't ask that we never break a barrier, draw around a shoot fighting horse, or draw a steer that just won't lay. We don't even ask for daylight runs. We only ask that you help us to compete in life as honest as the horses we ride, and in a manner as clean and pure as the wind that blows across this great land of ours. Help us, Lord, to live our lives in such a manner that when we make that last inevitable ride to the country up there where the grass grows lush, green, and stirrup high, and the water runs cool, clear, and deep, that you as our last judge will tell us our entry fees are paid. Amen.
Today we honor him for his mark that he has left in the rodeo and bull riding world with a 2017 Legends induction into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame. He passed away due to cancer on July 7th, 2008 in Houston, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome us in showing our appreciation to Clem McSpadden as we honor him with his induction as part of the class of 2017 into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame.
My name is Larry Stutzman, and I'm with the Bull Riding Hall of Fame, and we're inducting Clem McSpadden in the Legends category this year, and I'm here to tell a little bit about him. He was like my second father. He's the grandnephew of Will Rogers, and a former politician and rodeo announcer and PRCA president in the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. He was in the state representative in Oklahoma for many years, in the Senate Pro Tem for over 20 years before he went to the United States Senate in Washington, D.C. He was my second daddy, and I miss him every day. Every week during my whole life, he and I talked whether we were at the same rodeo or a different rodeo, or if we were home. He's the man who took the national finals when it was non-profitable and took it over and managed it in Oklahoma City and made it a profit before it went to Vegas. He's done so much for the rodeo industry and bull riding, and I'm very proud that he's being inducted in the Bull Riding Hall of Fame this year. Probably one of the most honest politicians, or the most honest politician I ever met. But besides having our talks all the time, Clem knew so much about farming and ranching and just folks in general. He was one of the greatest fellows I ever knew and deserves this award. Thank you.
Clem McSpadden truly was a legend. You know, you talk about the rodeo announcers of today, and Clem and his generation knew how to tell a story to an audience that may not know what they came to see. You know, a lot of times you'll go to a rodeo or a bull ride, and the announcers are so caught up in the immediacy they forget that a good percentage of those people in the stands don't know the rules, don't even know, you know, the technicalities of the event that they're watching. Clem McSpadden knew that he had to tell a story because he was the grandnephew of Will Rogers, the great storyteller himself. He was a senator and a U.S. congressman from Oklahoma, and he went on to become one of the most legendary announcers in rodeo history.
Clem McSpadden announced a lot of rodeos that my dad produced, and I had the opportunity to basically grow up in the Clem McSpadden, Jim Shoulders family, and just always, he was just a great orator, and whenever he was speaking, you understood every word, and he was saying something of substance, and that's what I always appreciated about him. Even though he was pulling for Randy Majors to win the world one of those years, and actually told the audience at the World Champion banquet where he said, "I wished I was giving this to Randy Majors, but that I'm giving it to you. And so, and he really did that. And you know, and my grandmother was really upset at him. But, you know, I wasn't, because the guy he was honest to me, and I mean, I've had some all-night drives with him, and my best Clem McSpadden story is he was on the announcer stand, bull riding was going on, and the guy jumped out and rode a really good bull, and Clem was really excited and said, man, he's going to be at least 85 points, and that was, you know, like a 90-something nowadays, and he said he's going to be at least 80, 85 points, and one of the judges, it was Jim Mahalik, who was an NFR bareback rider, he turned around and he said, Clem, he said, you can't be judging from the announcer stand. And he said, son, I've been doing this for 50 years and I ain't about to stop now.
Well, he was a pioneer in television as well, working on ABC's Wide World of Sports, which brought rodeo to mainstream. He was the general manager of the National Finals Rodeo when it was in Oklahoma City, and he is, as Rob Spence spoke of earlier, the author of the inspirational Cowboy's Prayer. So I'm going to take the microphone down and see if anybody, raise your hand if you've got a Clem McSpadden story.
Anybody got anything they want to share before we get
Did they dare share? Did they dare share?
Yeah.
I see Dude Smith back there. I'm going to rock back to him just as you're raising your hand. Dude, I know you've spent a little bit of time there in Oklahoma around Clem.
I made 2 trips to Oklahoma, the state in Old Mexico. Clem called me one day and he said, I need you to come go to Mexico with me. And I said, well, what's in Old Mexico? And he said, I got to the state. I got to go rodeo down. So I said, I'm not a Okie. And he said, you're a Laplander, that'll work. So we loaded up and went, and I made 2 trips with him, and we had a good time. Very, very good.
And I see Liz Kessler beside you. Of course, Liz is very good friends with Donna McSpadden, who is the widow of Clem McSpadden. Do you have any Clem stories? I know you and Reg were around him a lot.
We were around Cammy Donna a lot, and he was always there for you when you needed it. He could ever tell if I was kind of down or something. I was a long way from home, up in Canada and places that he can't even. And Clem and I were very, very close.
How about a round of applause for Liz Kessler? I won't call her age, Liz. I will just say that she is in this group of people and in rodeo in general. She's the grand lady of rodeo. Liz, thank you for coming.
In January, this class of inductees, I had the privilege and the great fortune to have several phone conversations with Miss Donna McSpadden. And all of you that know her know she's one of the dearest, sweetest ladies we have in Western lifestyle and rodeo. And she was so excited to hear about Clem's induction into this Bull Riding Hall of Fame. And we had some wonderful conversations about Clem and what he has meant to the rodeo world. And most recently, I had a conversation with her about a week ago. And she was literally in tears because she was not going to be able to be here with us today. There's health issues in the McSpadden family, and I'm not going to go into all of that, but she wanted me to send along her love and her appreciation for Clem and the McSpadden family to all of us here today. And she said to tell everyone that she's here in spirit with us, and so is Clem. So on behalf of Ms. Donna McSpadden and the entire McSpadden family and friends, the Bull Riding Hall of Fame is honored to accept this induction for Mr. Clem McSpadden. And our good friend Larry Stutzman, who lives in Chelsea, Oklahoma, where the McSpadden home is, and they have a little museum. It's an Clem's office up there in Chelsea that Miss Donna has preserved and kept as a museum in Clem's honor. his buckle and plaque from today's inductions will be included in that collection, that family collection there in Chelsea. Larry, thank you for being the courier there, and back to you, Don. Thank you.
Since we announced Clem McSpadden being inducted into the class of 2017 here at the Bull Riding Hall of Fame, I've had numerous phone conversations with Miss Donna McSpadden, who lives back in Chelsea, Oklahoma, and she was absolutely thrilled to learn that Clem had been inducted into this class in our Legends category. More recently, I had a conversation with Donna, and she was literally in tears, saddened that she would not be able to make it to the inductions here in Fort Worth this weekend. And she asked me if the Bull Riding Hall of Fame would accept Clem's induction on behalf of her and the McSpadden family, and I told her we would certainly be most happy to do that. You know, Clem was one of our great spokesmen and ambassadors for the sport of rodeo for many, many years. A U.S. congressman, an Oklahoma senator, really pioneered announcing rodeos on TV with ABC Wide World of Sports at the Cheyenne Frontier days back in the late 50s, early 60s, and was a voice of the National Finals Rodeo for many, many years, and later became the general manager of the National Finals Rodeo. Clem McSpadden leaves a legacy unequaled in the world of rodeo and in the world of announcing and being a public ambassador for the great sport of rodeo. And the Bull Riding Hall of Fame is proud to accept the induction for Clem McSpadden into the class of 2017. Thank you very much.
This year we celebrate the legends once again and do it in grand style as we honor one of the greatest rodeo announcers of all time. Tallman attributes his success in rodeo and business to his faith in Christ. His early years were carefree and hectic and nearly led to disaster. By 1979, he had been in 7 automobile accidents and once narrowly even escaped electrocution. And if that's not enough, he also should have been on an airplane that was hijacked as he was making his way home from Australia. In a typical year, Tallman is on the road for 270 days. He announces small-town 2-day events such as the rodeo in Snyder, Texas, as well as the National Finals Rodeo each December in Las Vegas, Nevada. Most announcers inform, but Bob paints a picture with words. He has also reshaped the profession by bringing the play-by-play action to rodeo, says Boyd Paulhamus of Brenham in Washington County, Texas, a friend and fellow rodeo announcer. Tallman often cheers, "Hang on, cowboy," or "Come on, let's give this guy a hand," after a contestant's tough rider fall. Without any formal training, Tallman announced his first rodeo in 1970, an amateur event in Winnemucca, and had just 5 short years later, in 1975, he announced his first ever National Finals Rodeo. 2 years after that, in 1977, he began announcing the legendary Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo right here in the Cowtown Coliseum. In 2004, Tallman was inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and he's also a 6-time recipient of the Announcer of the Year Award. And in 2007, Tallman was inducted into the National Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Along with that, in September of 2008, he was honored at the American Cowboy Culture Awards banquet held during the National Cowboy Symposium and Celebration in Lubbock, Texas. Today, we give Bob Tallman another well-deserved induction into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame in our Legends category.
I'm Pam Minnick, and I'm very proud to induct my friend Bob Tallman. What many of you may not know is Bob and I both grew up in Nevada and actually knew each other in the beginning from high school rodeo and amateur rodeos. We even team roped together back in the 1970s. Bob has just been an inspiration to the entire world of rodeo and a great ambassador. Of course, when he speaks, everyone listens. He's spread the word of rodeo around the world and, of course, brought new rodeo fans in because of his knowledge and enthusiasm for the sport. Congratulations on your induction to the Bull Rider Hall of Fame, Bob. Someone who also has spread the word of rodeo around the world, Bob Tallman. Bob and I actually rode together at one of those rodeos that he was announcing in, I think, 71 or 72, if you can imagine that. Needless to say, Bob was not the greatest roper in the world, so we didn't place. But it was a fun time at the beginning of a 40-year friendship. He announced his first national finals rodeo just later that decade in 1975, and he has made numerous contributions to the bucking bull industry, of course telling the story of bull riders everywhere.
Bob Tallman went from being the very worst announcer I ever heard in my life. Tell us
how you really feel, Donnie.
1973, I was in the slack, Watsonville, California.
You worked for RSC out in California.
Bob Cook, RSC, and he's practicing for the performance because this is bulls for breakfast, 7:30 in the morning. And, you know, so we're all down there, me and Pete, Gary LaFew, we're in the slack, we're getting on. And here this guy is, I mean, he's announcing like there's people in the grandstand. I mean, we're still rubbing sleep out of our eyes, you know, getting on these bulls, and he's got a crown on his hat that's this tall. The brim is 2 inches long. And he's got a string
and
curly hair, worst I ever heard. I'm going, who is that guy? Reminded me of a magpie when you're trying to sleep. You know, just going on and on and on and on. And by the Cow Palace, at the end of the year, I didn't recognize that same guy. And 2 years later, he's at the National Finals Rodeo. This guy, he went from working stock pens for not much money a performance to the highest paid, best rodeo announcer that's ever walked across the stage, in my opinion.
Well, and I think another huge contribution that he made, especially to the event that you all are here to support bull riding, is I think he might have been the founder of what is now the ABBI.
Yes, he actually had the idea and got it going. A lot of things happen like that, and then you get thrown under the bus later on down the line. But I tell you, Bob Tallman has been a #1 supporter of rodeo, bull riding in particular, out of anybody I've ever been around.
Is Kristen here? Kristen, come on up! Yeah. Oh, and the grandkids are coming up too. So, Kristen and Nicole Tallman and Al. Did I pronounce that right? And Kristen Tallman. And you'll have to, I'm going to go out there. One moment, please. Yeah. Oh, you're going to play the video? Let's watch the video first.
That's a bucking bull. You know, I've been shipping bull for a long time, in more ways than one. I actually rode a couple of bulls as a kid. I think they were Hereford or Angus bulls, scared me to death, and I never really wanted to try it. Howdy everybody, I'm Bob Tallman, and I'm sorry I can't be with you today in Cowtown, Old Fort Worth, Texas, but my friend Bill Putman and all of our friends that have given me the honor of being a part of the Hall of Fame for bull riding. This is a big deal because of my involvement in rodeo for the last 45 years. It's even a bigger deal that my family has stayed with me with all of this for the years. I'm in Cloverdale, British Columbia. It's kind of a cool place. It's beautiful. Right here on the ocean, you got the Canadian Rockies up here. You can go snow skiing in the daytime, play golf in the afternoon, and go sail surfing in the evening. I wished I was with y'all. But Kristen, Daniel, and Nicole, and my grandkids, Cashley and Canyon, are there. My friend Doug Mathis and Miss D, and to all of you. I just got one message for Kirk Allman. Thanks for being a part of my life, and all the rest of you that are there too today. Accepting this honor says that I've been around a long time, but it says that I've got friends in the rodeo business in every event. But of course, I'm a farmer and a rancher, and I love cattle, so that means I love bulls. It's an honor to have the Hall of Fame in Northside Fort Worth. It's an honor to have it in Texas, and I am truly honored to be put into this Hall of Fame. So, Mom, you can accept the award after 48 years of putting up with me in the rodeo business. She deserves the honor more than I do. To the Bull Riding Hall of Fame and to everybody that's there today, Thank you. I love you. God bless you all.
Well done. Come on over. So tell everybody your names.
My name's Canyon Cashley.
These are Nicole's children and Kristen and Bob's grandchildren, and I kind of watched them grow up on Facebook. I just can't believe that they're so big. Are you pretty proud of your granddad? What's the most fun thing about having Bob Tallman as your grandpa?
To stay up late and have sugar and just go wherever we want.
Stay up late and have sugar. Good. How about you?
I get to watch him announce on the radio.
That's pretty much fun. Here, I'm going to let you accept this, okay?
That's kind of what it's all about, you know. Grandpa's in Cloverdale, British Columbia, maybe one of the prettiest rodeo sites on planet Earth. So he's having fun. Thank y'all very much, and it's nice to meet y'all.
Quite an honor to be here this morning. I'm really sorry that Bob couldn't be here. He's unfortunately still on the road announcing rodeos, which is what he seems to do the best. So I want to thank everybody for including him. It's a tremendous honor, and we're very, very grateful for the career that Bob has had and what rodeo has given back to him.
Thank you for recognizing my dad. We're all very, very proud of him, and thank you for having us today.
My poppy is the best poppy in the world. It's an honor to have a grandpa that does so good at rodeo announcing.
Robert Edward Smits, born September 11th, 1959 in Palo Alto, California, is known professionally as the Kamikaze Kid and has been an American color commentator for the PBR Bull Riders Tour and a former 5-time Wrangler World Champion bullfighter. As a child, he lived in Thailand, Singapore, Puerto Rico, and Australia. After returning to the United States as a teenager, he lived in San Martin, California, and attended Palma High School in Salinas, where he entered high school rodeos starting in his sophomore year. While bull riding as a teenager, Smets was known to taunt some of the bullfighters for not protecting riders well enough after the riders fell. They challenged him in turn to try being a bullfighter himself, which he gladly accepted the opportunity, and he made a name for himself early on, distracting bulls after riders had fallen so the riders could leave that ring safely. During the 19 years of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo World Bullfighting Championships from 1981 to 2000, Smets was a top 6 finisher 17 times. He also won the championship 5 times, which still stands as an arena record today. He is a 9-time PBR World Championships bullfighter and was inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame in 2006. He was also inducted into the Texas Rodeo Cowboy Hall of Fame April 2010 and was an inaugural recipient of the PBR Heroes and Legends Celebration Jim Shoulders Lifetime Achievement Award in 2011. Today, Rob will also join another distinguished family as he is inducted into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame in the Bullfighters category.
I'd like to say a few words about 2017 Bull Riding Hall of Fame inductee Rob Smits. Rob Smits was a guy that I watched fight bulls my whole career, whether it was at the NFR or whether it was at the PBR finals. And there comes a time in life where you understand that no matter the situation, you want a guy like Rob Smits in your corner, because it never got too rough that he wasn't going to be there involved with a wreck with you. So, you know, that's every time I looked outside those chutes, you know, you want to see a guy like Rob Smits standing there, because you know you wasn't going to be alone if things got tough. And you know, I watched a lot of tapes of Rob Smits and seen him in the national bullfights, and I don't know if I've seen any guys any tougher than Rob. You know, he's there's not many guys like Rob Smits. That's, to make a long story short, he's one of a kind, and he's one of my heroes.
Well, the next category is In my generation, when you think bullfighters, the guy that really stands out in my mind is Rob Smets, the kamikaze kid.
Rob Smets, of course, he won 5 world championships fighting bulls, and he was having to compete against the very best in the world. And he and Miles Hare had some of the best duels, and Skipper Voss. I mean, the list goes on and on. But I'll tell you, for those of you that don't know, we were at the national finals in Oklahoma City, and what year was it, Rob? At the sale? No, at the sale. This is when you were trying to get a job. When you go to the PRCA convention, you're a stock contractor, and you got a lot of committee rodeos and stuff. You get swamped by newbie bullfighters and announcers. Well, we're sitting at the National Finals Rodeo. We're having Jim Shoulder's bull sale, and he turns out a Bremer. They called him the Bionic Bremer. And he had cleaned the arena. There were, I think, 6 or 7 bullfighters out showing their wares. Well, this bull is not out there 30 or 40 seconds. And he's hooked all 7 bullfighters out of the arena. The barrel man quit, left the barrel, rode around. This bull stayed out there, and I'm thinking, and this has been like about a minute by this time. And Jim Shoulder says, "Okay," he said, "I want to sell this bull." He said, "Whoever gets in here and can fight this bull gets all of my rodeos." And he had, I think, 10 or 12 events. And this bull is coming around, he's looking for somebody, he's walking around. If you remember the NFR, the yellow wall at Oklahoma City, he's coming around that wall, and Rob Smets says, "I'm going to hold you to it, Jay Lazy." Or to call him Jim Shoulders, he didn't know his nickname at the time, but he jumps over the fence. He's in his street clothes, he looks just like he looks right now. He jumps over on top of this bull, grabbed him around the neck. I mean, the bull got him down, and he got out from under him, and then he made 2 or 3 rounds and got him to the barrel, got him around the barrel, hooked the barrel, and Jim Shoulder said, "Sold, and you're hired." I mean, this guy's tough. Yeah, I mean, he jumped out of the grandstands, grabbed this sucker around the neck, and I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Rob Smets, congratulations.
Come on up here.
Come on up and defend yourself.
Yeah, he's a great cowboy saber. Seminole Chief is walking me like a foot log in front of the catch pen gate in Arcadia, Florida in July. And I had sand from head to toe. And I can hear Rob, and he's grunting a little bit. This bull mucked me out pretty good. And hooks Rob, and Rob said, "Will you get up?"
Well, the only good part other than Jim hiring me was Mr. Dan Klein went ahead and tipped me $100 because that bullet kind of got stagnant on the sale, and all of a sudden when I jumped on his back, the price started going right on up through the roof. We got about another $600 out of him. I made $100. Was able to buy dinner that night. I'm honored to be here today. I thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I thank Miles Hare because Miles Hare's got 2 world buckles. I got 5, but Miles is responsible for all 7 because at one point in my career I got so tired of being second to Miles that I said I was going home. We were in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and that was 1983. And Miles looked at me and he goes, "No, you're not going home." He goes, "Quit trying all the wild fancy stuff." He said, "Get back to the fundamentals, get back to where it's at." And I came on and I won the last go round at Fort Smith in '83. I ended up winning the next 5 bullfights in a row. Randy Majors helps me win my first world championship. When we had to work the first few years of the Wrangler bullfight finals, we were judged on how we protected cowboys as well as how we freestyled. And so the top 15 guys obviously made the national finals rodeo, but 16 through 21 qualified to ride bulls for us in our contest. And I was able to protect Randy during that deal. Randy won the bull ride in '83 at that. I won my first world championship there in '83 and worked my first NFR with Rex Dunn. So God's been awful good to me, and I'm grateful to be here today, and I thank my family. And we're here today in Fort Worth, Texas. I was very blessed to get the phone call that I'd been nominated in the bullfighter category to possibly be inducted into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame. And a couple of months ago I got a phone call from Bill Putnam saying that I was the bullfighter that was going in this year, after being the guy that gets to come in behind the legend, the King, Wickpeth. I feel very honored to be the next bullfighter in line to come into this prestigious job.
Often identified as one of the most talented bull riders never to win a world title, Denny Flynn of Charleston, Arkansas, qualified for the National Finals Rodeo 10 times and set a record for the most bull riding average titles won at an NFR that was later equaled by the talented Jim Sharp. Flynn finished second in the PRCA season standings 3 times, losing the 1980 world title to Don Gay by a mere $188 and the 1978 PRCA title by just $283. He also finished third in the world 3 times with his 98-point ride aboard Tommy Steiner's Red Lightning in Palestine, Illinois in 1979. That was a world record for dozens of years and remains the second highest score in pro rodeo history in any rough stock event. Flynn's 92-point score on a bull named Ed Pivick at Cheyenne Frontier Days in 1974 stood as the arena record for 15 years. Flynn was legendary for his toughness, and he nearly died from being gored by a bull in Salt Lake City in 1975, but came back to compete just 2 months later. He suffered a concussion in the 6th round of the 1981 NFR when a bull fell on him, but he rode 9 of his 10 bulls to win the average title. But just a year later, he broke his ankle in the 9th round, but returned in a cast to mount his 10th bull, which he needed to win the NFR average title. As an inductee to the bull riding category of the class of the 2017 Bull Riding Hall of Fame, we celebrate his legendary career both inside and outside of the arena.
I want to introduce Denny Flynn, my very, very good friend, for induction into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame. Denny Flynn is one of the greatest bull riders there ever was, and I know that because I rodeoed with him for years, and he kept getting my money, but he took me along. But I want to welcome Denny Flynn into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame in 2007.
Now we'll begin our 4th inductee category, and that is probably who many of you came to see, and those are these legendary bull riders. And we're going to induct first a gentleman that Donnie, I know, competed with you and against you, a 10 times national finals qualifier, 3 times NFR bull riding average winner, Mr. Denny Flynn.
Rob Flynn. Get to Arkansas all the way down here to Texas.
A little other history that I've got on my notes. He had a 98-point ride on Steiner's 11 Red Lightning in Palestine, Illinois in 1979. It is the 2nd highest marked bull ride ever, and considered by many, unless you consider the 100-point ride that Wayne Leslie had, it is considered by many to be the best bull ride of all time.
Only thing wrong with that Wayne Leslie 100-point ride, if the bull got rode, he wasn't perfect. If he, so.
There you have it. Denny Flynn.
Hold it. No, that's a mute button down there, and I don't know who hit it.
Pam probably did. She wanted to mute Donnie. I just want to thank, is that too loud? too close. I just want to thank Bill and his wife Tammy for putting this on and organizing it. I know a lot of work goes into this and all the support, and I think it's a great honor to be inducted in the Bull Riders Hall of Fame. We just want to thank everybody that came out, everybody that supports me, my family, my friends that come from Fort Smith. We just honored that they can come down. It is a big honor for me to be inducted into this with these other bull riders, especially one of my best friends, Randy Majors, that traveled with me forever, it seemed like. I had a lot of other friends, Ronnie Proctor, that I'm very much one of my best friends that I started out with, and other guys, Andy Taylor, I traveled with him, and Kenny Wilcox. I had some really good friends and traveling partners, and I think that just added to my rodeo career, and I just wanted to acknowledge all of them. There's some other guys that influenced and people that influenced my rodeoing and helped me and taught me things that, and I just want to share a few of them. My mom and dad, when we started, my brother, we rode at the old farm there in Charleston, Arkansas. My dad, he worked at the stockyard buying cattle and everything, so he brought home everything that he came in, and he built me and my brother a chute and started us out and got us started doing the fundamentals of riding bulls and things like that. And one of the things that he really didn't intend to do this, but he did it anyway, and I can see now how it helped us to learn how to hang on and do all that, was our arena was a pasture with section harrows, DS feed troughs, and all the equipment that was out there. When he turned us out, we damn sure learned how to hang on with our feet. And we picked our spot to get off, and I think that helped me a lot in getting off and staying safe. From there, I went on to, in the early 70s, and another man that helped me, and he didn't know he did, was Harry Vold, the legendary Harry Vold. I went down to Ardmore, Oklahoma, to the Okie 100 bull riding, me and another boy, and we didn't have any money, so Harry Vold and them had an auction, horse sale, the bull sale there, and so I rode bareback horses a little bit. Harry Vold would give us $5 to get on and mount out these horses. I got on about 4, 5, 6 of those horses there, trying to get what money I could, and Harry Vold, I was hurt. I come back up there, and Harry Vold rode up and said, "Kid, I want you to get on just one more horse."
That's a pretty good impression.
And I got on this one horse, and I told Mr. Vold, I said, "My hand is swollen up so much that I don't think I can ride one, Mr. Vold." He said, "Just get on him left-handed and double grab it, and just get on and get out of there." What Harry Vold convinced me that I did not want to ride bareback horses anymore, and that I would further my bull riding career a whole lot better if I could hang on with both feet instead of spurting. Another person from there, when I left Ardmore and went home another year, I went to school in Austin, Texas. Larry Mahan was putting on a school. Larry Mahan, everybody knows his career, but I wanted to be like Larry Mahan. I wanted to look like Larry Mahan on those bulls. I idolized that man. So I drove to Austin, Texas, to the Steiner Ranch, and got down there, and all I could think, boy, I want to learn how to ride speed bulls. I want to be like Larry Mahan. I'd already won the high school finals. My brother won them in '67. I won them in '69, but I wanted to learn how to ride bucking spinning bulls. Larry Mahan, that first day of that school, There was an old man that come in there and brought in a bunch of little 800-pound bulls, run them in there first to get on, they jump, kick, just run off. Larry Mayhem was down at the lake water skiing. There were some guys around there, I get on a couple of them little old bulls, and I think, my gosh, what am I doing down here? Larry Mayhem's off skiing, I just spent my money on this, and he's not even around. I'm back behind the chutes, I'm griping, I'm kicking dirt, and I'm doing all this stuff, and this old man back there in the back says, "What's the matter, son?" And I said, "Well, I come down here to ride spinning bulls and learn how to be like Larry Mayhem." He said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, he's the greatest. He looks good on them bulls. I'm coming down here, I don't want to get on these little bulls and do that at home." He said, "Why do you want to be like Larry Mayhem?" And I said, "Because," and I was getting frustrated. I said, "Because, he's Larry Mayhem." He said, "Let me tell you something, there's not one thing about bull riding that's any good. And if you'll do this," he said, "if you'll get on every bull with attitude, make an 8-second whistle, and you get on and you ride all the bulls that you can, one of these days there's going to be some little kid come up there and say, 'Mr. Flynn, I want to ride like you.'" That was Buck Stein. Buck Stein. And I took that to heart. And from then on, I just tried to make the whistle, let the wind take care of itself, and be as good as I could be. And I remember that little boy that came up and said, "Mr. Flynn, I want to ride just like you." And I can still see that little boy's face. You just talk about little boys. I went from there, I got my card. So me and another boy that up at home went down to the Mesquite Rodeo. And I got to tell this because of Donnie, and I was really hoping Neil Gay would be here. But Neil Gay was an influence on me in the fact that he taught me how to get out on those bulls and not take too much time in the chute. This friend of mine was riding first, and I'm standing there helping him. I was pulling his rope. They didn't know me, I didn't know them. We're pulling this boy's rope, and he gets about almost ready, and Neil Gay says, "Let's go," he said. And this boy turned around and said, "I'm not ready." He grabs that boy on the shoulder, pulls him around, gets right in his face, and he said, "Let's go," he said. That boy opened the gate on that boy, and when it come my turn, I had my rope pulled, my wrap in there before Neil Gay flanked that bull. So Neil had a little influence on me, cowboying up and getting out on them bulls. I got my notes here, I forgot my other stories. I want to go into order here.
This is your day.
This story is very, very special to me. Traveling with Randy Majors was such a trip in itself. And I don't know that, and I'm going to tell you how friends are, how close, you can get to somebody that you travel with day after day. 1975. Everybody's probably heard the story. We get out there to the rodeo in Salt Lake City. Randy, he's got a bull that evidently wasn't any good. He got a rewrite. So he rode first. He got his rewrite bull, and I got this bull that, anyway, I think they were 66 points on him. His old horn was sharp, just like your little finger. They didn't enforce the tipping rule back then very much. I get on this bull and I ride him, I think I was 64.5 points. And right at the end of the ride, he stopped. And kind of up in a corner, and so I started to get off on the fence. And I was thinking, don't get off on the fence, he's going to hook you, don't get off on this and let him get out or something. But I loosened up, the bull jumped forward, and I slid back on the flank rope. And he kicked up in the air, my body turned over, my hands hand still in the rope, and he jerked me down on that horn. He stuck a horn in my stomach down here by my belt. It went up through my midsection 10 inches. Missed my heart a half inch, busted my diaphragm, split my liver. I didn't know what all was going on inside but it flipped me over. I landed on the ground in adrenaline and all of this. I jumped up, I grabbed my intestines and holding them in my hand, I run to the chute. Randy Majors was on the back of that chute. I looked up at him and I said, Randy, I've been ripped. He looks over there and he says, oh my gosh. He starts climbing over the chute gate to come down where I'm at. I'm hanging on the chute gate thinking, just somebody hold me up. And I'm waiting on Randy to come down off of that chute. And I didn't know, I was hurting. I didn't know, what was going on. Randy was climbing down. About the time I'm sitting there just hanging on the chute. Randy's foot hit the ground and I look back up and he's going back up the chute. And I'm thinking, where are you going? And I look up there and Randy's leaning over that chute, poking that flank man in his chest and saying, you stick that rewrite up your ass. Only a friend like that can make a dying man laugh laying on the ground. There's so many people that I need to thank in all of this, but one of the people I want to recognize more than anybody is my wife Lynn, that has put up with me for 37 years. She has taken a back shadow to all of this, the Hall of Fames. She 2 to 3 time national finalist, Rookie of the Year. And without her, I probably wouldn't be here. Couldn't do all of this, so thanks, honey. Thank everybody for all of this, and I appreciate it. Enjoy it very much.
My take on the Bull Riders Hall of Fame, I think it's one of the best things that they put together for the Bull Riders. To be honored in something like any kind of Hall of Fame is a great glory to me. I really appreciate what Bill and the crew has done. I know it's a lot of work, but to be honored in a Hall of Fame, being a bull rider is just something that you dream about. For me to be honored with a group of bull riders that were before me, the Freckles Browns, all of the George Pauls, the Larry Mahans, all of those guys that I looked up to and dreamed about, and then being able to be even mentioned with those type of bull riders is just, just gives me cold chills to think about it. The Chris Shivers that came on after us, the Mike Whites, all the boys that are riding now for all the money, and I'm just proud that I can be a part of that history for those guys to look up to me and come up and say that I was an idol or had something that they looked up to, like I looked up to all the bull riders before me. And I just think it's a great, great honor to be even inducted in the Bull Riders Hall of Fame.
A cowboy that began his rodeo career at the young age of 16. Bill Cornell was a member of the original Rodeo Cowboys Association, which later became the PRCA. He won the title of World Champion Bull Rider in 1963 when he was only 19 years old, which still retains the distinction of being the youngest man to hold this title. Cornell qualified for 7 national finals rodeos in his legendary career, but in 1980 sustained a career-ending injury at Grand Junction, Colorado, as he sat 13th in the world standings. Today we honor his history-making career within the sport of professional rodeo and bull riding as being a member of the class of the 2017 Bull Riding Hall of Fame.
This is Randy Majors welcoming Bill Cornell to the Bull Riding Hall of Fame. Bill was one of the greatest bull riders to ride in the 60s. He was the world's champion in 1963, and at that time he was 19 years old, and one of the best there ever was.
The guy that gets the award for coming the farthest, besides the photographer, might be our next honoree, Bill Cornell. 1963 World Champion Bull Rider.
19 years old, he strapped on the World Champion belt buckle. And that was in 1963. And he was already flying airplanes, and that was back when they were made out of fabric and wood. But, you know, but it was a while ago, but, you know, he's the youngest bull rider to ever win a world championship, and the average at the NFR. I mean, you know, Sage got, you know, really close to that, but 7 times he qualified for the National Finals Rodeo, and you have to remember, the first time I went to the NFR in 1972, 10 years after his world championship, first place paid $429. So you were kind of paying to be a cowboy. So you really had to be committed. And I got to tell you, world champion bull rider, but the greatest aviator that I've ever been around. Now, he does things in an airplane that I will not do. I'll promise you this, if an airplane will fit through that front door, then he can fly it through. I'll stand out there and say that's great, you know, but I ain't gonna do that. This guy, I mean, he sent me pictures from flying in Alaska in a whiteout, taking, you know, first time I ever saw a selfie was Bill Cornell's hand. That was all I could see in the airplane. It was in a whiteout. He had to land on a lake and sit there on a frozen lake, keeping the engine running where it wouldn't freeze up. It was like 60 below zero or some crap. This guy is a cowboy and a professional pilot extraordinaire, Bill Cornell.
Just like Donnie Davis is the Hall of Fame that you want to be in. I'd just like to say thank you for everybody that elected me and voted for me. It's a terrific honor. I'd like to especially thank Bill for running an association that judges you on your writing ability, not necessarily your political correctness. I don't think I've ever been politically correct.
No, you have not.
But I can damn sure write books. Thank you.
Inducted in, especially the Bull Riding Hall of Fame, is a great honor for any of the guys that rodeoed during my time frame, especially, and especially the top cowboys. I think that separates the difference between this Hall of Fame and others is we're based on bull riders only, and it's not a political event. It was just based strictly on how your ability to ride bulls. And I think that, and my person it's a great honor, and I'm just thrilled to be inducted into the Hall.
Dick Griffith began his rodeo career as a trick rider at the very young age of 6 and went on to win 4 consecutive bull riding world championships later on in his career. As a member of the famous 101 Ranch Rodeo outfit in 1930 and 1931, Griffith attributed his exceptional balance and coordination in bull riding to early training as a trick rider. Griffith was one of the founders of the Cowboys Turtle Association and continued competing and performing as a trick rider until 1954, when he retired from active competition to devote coaching his family troop full-time. He held CTA and PRCA membership card number 3 and served as CTA's bull riding director from 1937 to 1942. He passed away August 10, 1984, but today we remember his legacy and honor his name as we induct him into the 2017 class as a member of the Bull Riding Hall of Fame.
Dick Griffith is one of the legendary riders in our sport that really made a significant impact on our sport in the early eras. He actually began his rodeo career in 1920 at the age of 6 right here in the Cowtown Coliseum in Fort Worth as a performer in his family's trick riding team. And the Griffith family was renowned for their trick riding skills, multiple world championships, and that's where Dick Griffith got his start in rodeo, right here in Fort Worth in 1920. went on to become one of the greatest bull riders of that era, winning 4 consecutive world championships from 1939 to 1942 and adding a 5th world championship in 1946. Dick Griffith was also one of the innovators of showmanship when bull riding really became one of the premier events in rodeo during that era. Dick Griffith incorporated a lot of the showmanship and the fashion that he brought from the trick riding game to the bull riding. One of the great innovator in fashion and became a media star of that era as well. So Dick Griffith, we're proud and honored to induct him into the 2017 class of the Bull Riding Hall of Fame.
You saw the picture of Dick Griffith. Cheryl Peterman's got it back there. And, he and Harry Tompkins probably hammed it up on the back of the bull more than anybody. But a story that I was told is that Jim Shoulders, who knew a little bit of something about riding, said that Dick Griffith was the greatest bull rider he'd ever seen.
Well,
and Ken Roberts.
That's real high praise, and as we all know, you don't have to have a gold buckle to signify greatness riding bulls. You just don't. Everybody, and that's always fun. But Dick Griffith, I didn't know him. My dad, I've heard him and Jim tell stories about him, but I saw 5 times. The world champion bull rider, 39, 40, 41, and 42, and then the 5th one in 46.
And the greatest thing is he began his career right here at the age of 6 in 1920, right here in this Coliseum as a member of the trick riding Griffith family. And a lot of you that have followed rodeo now probably know Tad Griffith. You've seen him perform his trick riding act at Fort Worth Stock Show at the National Finals Rodeo. Dick and his wife Connie Griffith, obviously long after Dick's bull riding career, went on to become a great trick rider and coach of many trick riders. A lot of the young men and ladies that are trick riding today actually learned from Connie and then obviously from Tad as well. He lived and rodeoed right outside of Fort Worth here during the height of his career. And I'm going to go down and ask Dude Smith for some Dick Griffith stories.
All right, Dude Smith. Dude, what's your card number in RCA? 59? 159 in the RCA. Mine's 12255.
So that tells you that he's just a little bit older. He came just a little bit before you, like 1,100 people.
Yeah.
What's your fondest memory of Dick Smith or Dick Griffith, and what can you tell this audience?
Well, I remember watching him, and I personally thought in my day that him and Ken Roberts were the 2 best bull riders in my area. And he was also an outstanding trick rider.
I said that. Were you listening?
No, you was talking to Billy.
What do you think made him so great?
Well, I guess to be great, you got to have a lot of nerve and a lot of heart.
Thank you, dude.
All right, well, we're going to have Bill Putnam, Bull Riding Hall of Fame, accept for Dick Griffith and their family, and having their dad.
Just that, unfortunately, Tad and the Griffith family couldn't be here with us today, and the Bull Riding Hall of Fame is honored to accept this induction on behalf of Dick Griffith and the Griffith family. Thanks.
And bull riders everywhere.
It would be difficult to find someone who loved his sport more than our next Bull Riding Hall of Fame inductee. Randy Magers was still riding bulls in 1987, in his early 40s after recovering from a serious accident when a bull stepped on his shoulder, making him the oldest rider to compete at the time. The Magers home is full of memorabilia, trophies, buckles, and history dating back from when Randy started bull riding at the young age of 18 in high school, winning a trophy saddle that same very year. He rode both bareback and bulls and was named all-around cowboy. In college, Randy, along with other young cowboys, formed the team for NIRA competitions. He won many honors, bull riding, and the team won the championship at the collegiate finals in 1967. Randy's first professional rodeo was in 1966, where he won in the bull riding. And in 1967, he joined the Rodeo Cowboys Association, and his bull riding career was off and running. He rode in 101 rodeos and was thrown off only 19 times. He qualified for his first National Finals rodeo, finishing the season in 5th place in the world standings. Randy qualified for the finals 9 times and was reserve world champion bull rider 2 times. He remembers a Hall of Fame bull that was well known within the sport for taking cowboys to their limits. That bucking bull, Oscar, was famous for the challenge to ride him, having thrown cowboy after cowboy as more than 300 attempts were made and only 8 qualified rides were made out of those 300 attempts. 2 of those rides were made by Randy, one of which was during the 1975 NFR, when Randy finished as reserve world champion. This year, we honor him with his 2017 induction into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Red Doyle. Asked me to say a few words about a friend of mine named Randy Majors. Anybody that's been involved in rodeo for the last 20 years pretty well knows who Randy Majors is. It's kind of ironic. Today we have 2 fellows going into the Hall of Fame that were probably the greatest bull riders in history never to win the world's buckle. Randy Majors and Denny Flynn. Both of them at any time would have been there, but both of them kind of laughed about it and said they got Donnie Gade in those days. I first met Randy at college rodeos in 1965, I believe. I was a year ahead of him when Randy finished college and got his pro card and started traveling. He and I went together pretty close the first year, worked quite a bit together. I think Randy has entered the Denver rodeo more times than any human being alive, and one of the greatest bull riders ever to live, as far as I'm concerned. He's very, very deserving to be going into this Hall of Fame.
Introduce this guy. You know better than most people in here, other than maybe Denny.
Well, the next guy we're going to put in the Bull Riding Hall of Fame is a guy that had a Hall of Fame career for such a long time. I can remember being 14, 15 years old, going to the stock show at Fort Worth. I had a permit, Pete and I, Marvin, Paul Shoulders. We'd be watching Bobby Steiner. He was mounting out bulls for his daddy, getting a ride in the fat stock show at Fort Worth. And then there's guys fresh out of college, Randy Majors, Robert Anderson, you know, and they had their All-American Buzz haircuts and their starch wranglers, denim shirts with their spurs on, pants tucked in their boots. Man, I couldn't wait. I wanted to be just like them. And I couldn't believe that, you know, we were walking in the same hall. We'd get to go behind the bucking chutes. And, you know, this guy was a pain in my butt for a long time. How about 9-time NFR qualifier, runner-up 4 times? How about Randy Majors, folks? I'll just give you the microphone. Okay, now this is the only time I'm going to do this.
To be honest with y'all, I never did think anything like being on cheerleaders. You started it. But no, I never thought I'd be anything like this. And this, for me, it's the biggest honor that ever could be bestowed on somebody like myself. I wish Diane had to follow you. You really made me tear up down there. But I want to thank Bill putting this deal on and getting it started. And I really think it's great that Pam's here and Donnie. But like I say, it's something I never thought would ever happen to somebody like me. And there's not enough words for me to describe how great it is for me to be associated with, especially Donnie Gay and Denny Flynn, Bill Cornell, and all the guys that are in this. Chris Shivers, he wasn't even born when I was riding. And I want to thank all my kinfolks that came, and especially my wife. She's been the backbone of my whole life. If you don't have a great wife, you don't rodeo. That's bottom line. But this is the biggest thing that ever happened to me. And I want to thank everybody and anybody that had anything to do with it, because I'm going to get to receive something from Donnie. Finally, he took everything away before.
I want to say this is probably the biggest honor I've ever had bestowed on me. And I want to thank anyone and everyone that had anything to do with it, because it's kind of ironic. This is my 50th anniversary to have a PRCA card. So this is kind of a cherry on top of the cake to be inducted into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame and to have my name associated with the type of bull riders that are in here. It's just really great. There's not enough words for me to express how much I feel about this, but it's one of the biggest things ever bestowed on myself.
Our next inductee has 22 career Built Ford Tough Series wins that include being the first PBR bull rider to win more than $300,000 in 1 year. Along with that, he was the first PBR bull rider to reach the $1 million mark, the $2 million mark, and the $3 million mark. If that's not enough, he was also the first PBR bull rider to register 13 90-point rides in one single season, earning the highest marked ride in PBR history. 96.5 points, which he has done 2 times. Early on, he would be the first bull rider to win 3 consecutive Bud Light Cup events in one season, and was the second man to win multiple PBR World titles behind the legendary Adriano Marias, who did it in 1994 and 2001. On May 30th, 2015, Shivers came out of retirement for one more ride at Unfinished Business. There, he rode a bull named Black Cat for 88.5 points and split the event win with his good friend J.W. Hart. Both Shivers and Hart were the only 2 PBR legends to ride their bulls for the full 8 seconds in that event. Shivers resides with his wife Kylie and their 2 sons in Jonesville and Canahoula Parish, Louisiana, and has continued his bull riding legacy by beginning the Miniature Bull Riders organization to teach the young up-and-coming superstars of professional rodeo and bull riding the ins and outs of staying safe and teaching them to always reach for their dreams. We are proud to welcome Chris Shivers into the family as we celebrate his 2017 Bull Riding Hall of Fame induction.
Probably one of the fondest memories I have of our sport would be I was working the PBR tour. Chris Shivers, Little Yellow Jacket, they were on $1 million match. And the whole week before, we had gone and were promoting the event at radio stations, TV stations. You know, it was the first opportunity a bull rider was going to get to have a shot to win $1 million in a day. 5 o'clock in the morning we were up, we hit radio talk shows, we hit TV shows all week long. Even on the day of the event we were up at 5 o'clock doing these kind of things. I want you to think about any other sport where a guy was going to compete at a shot at $1 million that day if he'd have been out doing the publicity and the PR. If it was a heavyweight prize fight, that guy would still be sleeping. His manager may be doing the talking. But you know, Chris was a class act. He was all about promoting the sport, bringing it to the next level. Unfortunately, on that day, the other world champ won, Little Yellow Jacket. Chris bucked off, and I can remember him leaning up against the side of the fence there, and I picked up the rope. We were walking back by, and he was sitting there, and he was frustrated, and there was a little water in his eyes. And he looked up at me, and I stuck my hand down. I said, "Come on, champ. There'll be another day. We're good." And he popped up, tipped his hat at Little Yellow Jacket, and went back after the event was over to have to put up with all the press asking him, what happened? What happened here? And being the champion that he was, and wanting everybody to remember that it's easy to smile and be the champ when everybody's winning. How a champion handles himself on the downside of things speaks volumes. And on that day, Chris Shivers spoke volumes to me because he tipped his hat to Little Yellow Jacket. He thanked all of the sponsors that helped make that event happen and all of the sponsors that he had personally. So you know that they had to be very, very proud of the way that world champion handled himself on that day. And since that's been an event that I have never forgotten. And Chris Shivers, you are my hero too.
The next inductee is a friend of mine, as most all of these bull riders are, but now we kind of go back. We've been in this real and old genre, so let's get back down here to more recent times. And the next world champion, two-time world champion, is he's the first guy to win a world championship in the PBR that didn't rodeo and learn how to win in the PRCA. I wasn't sure how that was going to work, but I can remember we were at Wichita Falls, I think, at a car dealership signing autographs and promoting a PBR event. And I asked Chris, why he didn't, what just rodeo, and he said didn't need to. Here's a guy that I can relate to, not any taller than me, and a great bull rider. And I remember the first time I got to really got excited. He rode some bucket, some gun, and I said, shiver me timbers, it's Chris. He's in town and just winning the bull ride. Let's get world champion Chris Shivers, 15-time qualifier in the PBR World Finals. Think about that a minute, folks, while he's making his way up here. 15 times to the PBR World Finals. I made the NFR 13 times. It's absolutely incredible. Don't be standing on your tiptoes. This guy is as humble as anybody I've ever been around, but he don't have to be whenever you start talking bull riding, because he can do it.
I think Donnie Gay called me Shiver Me Timbers because he didn't know how to say my name. Right along with Pam.
While you're waiting to talk, I'm going to give this audience a few more of your stats. The first bull rider to earn $1 million in the career, then $2 million, and then $3 million. In 2006, he crossed the $3 million threshold. A lot of you guys that started your career in rodeo never thought to, when a world champion through the whole year earned $6,000, that you wouldn't ever see $1 million cowboy, let alone $3 million.
Pam, I couldn't make $3 million in my bull riding career with an ink pen.
Also, 93 career rides marked 90 points or higher, which is still the most of any bull rider in bull riding history. That gave you a little time to think, right?
This ain't my favorite thing, getting up here talking to everybody.
I can attest to that. I had a chance to interview him many times, and I would go over there, and usually it was just very, very quiet, unless it was something really, really exciting.
Yeah, usually when I was 90, I got pretty excited about things, but Mr. Bill, he called me. I was coming back from Oklahoma or something, trying to stir up a job somewhere. I think I was at this buddy of mine over here, Josh Thompson's house, when Bill called me and told me that I was going to be. Somebody had already told me that they'd seen it on Facebook, where Facebook knows everything before you do. So they told me about it. I was being nominated for doing the Bull Riding Hall of Fame. It was something that excited me. I never dreamed as a kid that I would be. That's why I don't talk, because I break down every time.
Everybody does that, especially when you're really sincere about what you're trying to say. So we got time.
I didn't have
good storyteller, so I don't tell many stories. Somebody told me earlier that Rob Smith, he was going to talk on my behalf. I thought that was a good idea because he's a great storyteller. But being in the midst of great people like Rob Smith, you know, everybody that rides bulls knows Lynn Frost. You know, he's a mentor. He's a guy that every kid looks up to, and that's Dang it, man. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to light this up and I'm not going to light it up because you're going to finish this. I didn't always ride good. I did my best to ride good, but one thing I always took pride in is I always respected my fans. Every one of them. I can attest to that. So we're going to get Rob to tell some stories. I've got a lot of great, funny, well, maybe not funny, but exciting Chris Shivers stories of times I got to talk to him. But probably the time that you stopped my heart the most, maybe, was Nampa, Idaho. You want to talk about that one? I think that's what pretty much made me famous. I was a kid that looked 13, and there was a bull called Shorty that had made the short round, and the bull turned back to the right and hit me behind the head. And the guy in the arena couldn't rope very good, so I got run over about 3 times. And it was probably the worst looking wreck that's ever been posted on television. So I don't know if that's what topped my career off and made people like me or what it was, but that was one of them.
You became everybody's hero. Let me tell you something about Chris Shivers. And it wasn't in his best day. It's easy to be up here and put a smile on your face when you've just won something that was really big. It's fun to be the champ, and it's fun when you won to be able to tell that story. I was in Colorado Springs. The PBR was going to give Chris Shivers the opportunity to be the first man to ever win $1 million in a day. Him and Little Yellow Jacket was the match. For a week we were up there. We got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We hit the TV drive time radio shows. We hit the TV shows. We were there promoting it all the way through. Even on the morning that Chris had to get on Little Yellow Jacket later that afternoon, we're up at 5 o'clock. Now I want you to think about that. Any other major sporting event that a guy's going to be matching a world champion against a world champion, his manager might be out there promoting the event. But the guy that's going to be fighting the fight, he wouldn't be out there doing it. Let me tell you what, Chris Shivers was up that morning right along with every other morning promoting our sport and being an ambassador for our sport. On that day, those of us we know, it didn't come out like we would like to have seen it. And I remember Chris being sitting alongside the fence right there. He was squatted down like this. He sat down. There were some tears in his eyes, and he was frustrated. And I remember walking by and saying, "Come on, champ, it's all right. We're going to get another chance." And him hopping up, he thanked me. He tipped his hat to Little Yellow Jacket and went out the arena. But then Chris went backstage to have to meet with the likes of Pam and Donnie and all the media presence that the PBR had generated at that event, and made sure that he thanked Arion, thanked his sponsors, and tipped his hat to Little Yellow Jacket. And you want to talk about a class act, and didn't come up with excuses why it didn't work. He just tipped his hat and was a champion that he was. Of 30 years of my career, that is probably the fondest memory I have of my sport, right there.
Being inducted into the Bull Riding Hall of Fame, you know, it's something that, it's not something I actually dreamed of as a kid, but something that, you know, I watched some of the guys get inducted several years later, and you know, I said maybe one day I'll be able to get on that list, and what a great list it is. You know, you got Rob Smith, you got the great Lane Frost. Everybody wants to be like him, you know, and then getting inducted in the same year as Lane Frost, you know, that's a special, that's a memory that you'll never forget. So I'm real excited about this, and that's about it.
This inductee started riding dairy calves on the family dairy farm when he was 5 or 6, and when he was 9 got on his very first bucking bull. However, to the relief of his family, he met the legendary Donnie Gay about that time, when he told him that he should just stick riding the calves and steers until his bones were more fully developed. His mother says that she and his dad had been telling him to do that very same thing for a long, long time, but of course, he listened to Don. At age 15, Lane Frost started to ride bulls on a regular basis, but before that he had been competing on calves and steers. His first rodeo awards were won in 1974 when he was just 10 years old at the Little Buckaroos Rodeos held in Uinta Basin. He stayed on a bucking Shetland pony to win his first bareback, took second in the calf roping, and rode a calf in the bull riding event to place third. Frost was taught the art of riding by his father Clyde and his good friend Freckles Brown, who was a world champion bull rider in Oklahoma. He was the national high school bull riding champion in 1981, and he was the bull riding champion in his first youth national finals in Fort Worth, Texas in 1982. Frost joined the PRCA and began rodeoing full-time after graduating from high school in 1982. In 1987, he realized a lifelong dream when he became the PRCA World Champion Bull Rider at the young age of 24. That very same year, the great and legendary bucking bull Red Rock was voted Bucking Bull of the Year. In 309 attempts, no one had ever ridden him, and in 1988, at the Challenge of the Champions, Frost rode him in 7 exhibition matches and was successful in 4 out of those 7 tries. He went on to compete at the Rodeo 88 Challenge Cup, held as part of the Cultural Olympiad in association with the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary. On July 30th, 1989, at the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeos in Cheyenne, Wyoming, after completing a successful 85-point ride on a Brahma bull named Taking Care of Business, Frost dismounted and landed in the dirt. The bull then turned and hit him in the side with his horn, breaking several of his ribs. He initially rose to his feet, waving at his good friend Tuff Hedeman for help. As he took a couple steps, he fell to the ground, and when the bull hit him in his chest, it broke several of those ribs, which severed an artery that led to his heart. He was rushed to the Memorial Hospital, where they discovered that his heart injury was irreparable. Frost is buried near his hero and mentor, Freckles Brown, at Mount Olivet Cemetery in Hugo, Oklahoma. We are proud to welcome him as part of the 2017 Bull Riding Hall of Fame induction class as we honor his legacy both inside and outside of the arena.
I'd sure like to welcome in a really good friend of mine, world champion bull rider, Lane Frost. When Lane Frost was 10 years old, I flew into the rodeo in Vernal, Utah, and saw Clyde and visited with him a little bit, and he said, I want you to meet my boy, Lane, and walked around behind the chutes, and Lane was back there with all the other bull riders and stuff, and he was 10 years old. And he walked up and shook my hand and said, Donnie Gay, I'm going to be just like you. I patted him on the head, and I said, well, kid, you got a long way to go, but boy, what a treasure, and I'm just glad we had him as long as we did, because not a better person on planet Earth, and I know he's looking down on us and got that big, pretty smile on his face.
This has been so much fun, and we're not done yet, but our final honoree today is somebody that probably around the world, we talked about the legend of Bodacious. Around the world, when you talk about bull riding, people from all walks of life know the name Lane Frost. The 1987 PRCA World Champion Bull Rider, and probably what endeared him to a lot of people and put him one step beyond as far as the media attention was this legendary match of champions when he was matched against Red Rock. Of course, John Browning took that bull around to a lot of places all over the West Coast, and they really drew a big fan base. He's one of the most loved, popular, and respected bull riders ever. I know you've got some stories of Lane Frost.
Well, I met him for the first time in Vernal, Utah. Clyde and Elsie were living there behind the bucking chutes, and little boy walked up to me. He was about 10 years old and stuck his hand out and says, "Hi, Don Gay, I'm Lane Frost. I'm going to be just like you." Shook my hand. I patted him on the head and I said, "Well, it's nice to meet you, Lane." I said, "You got a long way to go, cowboy." And, you know, being the smart ass I was, and, you know, he came a long way. His dad, of course, he was raised right in the rodeo business. Clyde, y'all make your way on up here. Clyde Frost, an NFR bareback rider, bronc rider, bull rider. You know, cowboy. Lane Frost was not just a bull rider; he was a cowboy. I mean, he could ride, he could rope, he could do everything. But what he was best at was being a really wonderful, special person. I mean, Lane Frost could walk into any place, whether it was dark inside or light inside. When he came in the room got a little bit brighter. That's my Lane Frost thing. He was a great bull rider. He loved everything about the rodeo business. He could tell you, like me when I was little, he could tell you who the champions were. He knew the history of the business. He understood the livestock. He had everything that you needed if you wanted to be successful in the rodeo arena. But his personality and his smile, just like that picture that somebody got. I mean, you know, I can look at it and I can see him playing with aggravating Tally on the couch in my living room. I mean, you know, it was such a close friendship, you know, and a big part of it because I was friends with y'all, and you know, that boy was an inspiration. And I'll tell you my Lane Frost bull riding story. I guess he's 16 or 17, and he was riding here in the high school thing, and he just had his knee operated on. He was already crippled at 16, you know, for all of you young guys that want to start too damn early. Okay, so he's in the high school deal, but he entered Mesquite, and he rode a bull there, and it was a two-header that way because it was the Walt Garrison All-Star Rodeo, and the finals, the short go, was at Fair Park. George Strait was going to sing, so this place was packed. So Lane qualifies. He has to go back and forth, and I guess it was driving him back and forth from Mesquite to here, working the high school deal, and he comes to Dallas, and he's got 81 Dillinger. And this is the Dillinger before the one you rode. This is the Brennan Dillinger. You had the black ball face Dillinger. Okay, so the Brennan Dillinger, riding the gate to the left every time, been rode one time by me. I mean, he was a really, really extremely good bull. He was a 21 and a half pointer every day. Lane draws Dillinger in the short go, and I drew Charlie Brown, another NFR pretty ranked bull. So Lane comes up to me and he said, "What about Dillinger?" And I said, "Well, kid," I said, "you're probably overmatched." I said, "But you do have a chance." I said, "because he's going to turn back right there to the left." I said, "When I rode him," I said, "he had a little down coming around the corner, but after that he was just, I mean, it was fun, but it was a blur." And I said, "You keep pumping, you might manage." He was 92 and I was 88. So much for how much I know and him being overmatched. But, you know, whether he was 92 or whether he bucked off, it wasn't over 2 or 3 steps out of the arena that he had that smile back on his face. And the guy was the most comfortable world champion in his own skin I ever saw.
Ladies and gentlemen, Clyde and Elsie Frost, Lane's parents. And I'll let you guys step over this way. For the last almost 3 decades, they've spent everything else, but talk about this ride with not only during the time that Lane was rodeoing, but what it has brought to your family since then.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I won't talk, so. Elsie, come over here where the folks can see it.
Well, it's just given us and our family so many opportunities that we would have never had before. I mean, we've been invited to go places and do things that I never dreamed we'd be able to do, you know, and so, you know, Lane would be so tickled about all that stuff. Probably up there giggling, you know, thinking, now you've got to do the stuff. But he's so admired Donnie Gay. I mean, that was his idol. In fact, when he kind of took a spurt of growing and got bigger than Donnie Gay, he just thought he was not going to be able to be a good bull rider because he was bigger than Donnie Gay. But he overcame that and was okay. Now he's got something to say.
Well, that was taller. You know, he never did get this wide.
Tall. Well, this Bull Riding Hall of Fame would not be complete without Lane Frost. Thank you for your time. But carry on with what you want to say, and I'm going to get with this stuff here.
Such an honor, but I just remember, I don't know if you remember or not, but she came by one time in your airplane and landed in Atoka and picked the plane up. I don't know where you was going, but I never saw a kid so tickled all my life. I'm sure when he got in with you, he tried to remain calm and everything, but he was so tickled that day, he was just a mine. And Denny Flynn, he just looked up to him so much, and at his bull riding schools, he always mentioned, you know, Denny did it this way or Denny did it that way. And in fact, he went to one of Donnie Gay's bull riding schools and helped him with it to kind of learn how to do a bull riding school. That was the time the bulls got out.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, the bulls got out. You know, one of the students left the back gate open, so there's like 16 head of bulls got out. They went right down. I mean, the LBJ freeway runs right in front of the arena. Okay, so see, 15 of these bulls is on the southbound side of the freeway, but they were on, you know, on the dirt embankment, and they were going down. I jumped on a horse bareback and took off. Lane jumps on a horse, a colt that's there, and Pete got on. Somebody else, I can't remember who else was horseback. Might have been Cody Lambert, but Lane and Emma were all three going down the side of the freeway. Well, two of these bulls went across the southbound lanes, jumped the median, went across the northbound oncoming traffic. I mean, people were squealing their tires, you know, lucky didn't kill anybody. Bulls got on across. My dad had raced up to the house to hook up 2 more goosenecks and saddle some more horses. And of course, he's just cussing up a storm that we left the damn gate open, you know, and this, that, and the other. Some of y'all know my father. He didn't hold back much. And so he runs to the back and to the back pasture and opened a corner gate that you could go out that corner gate and go down the embankment. That was the freeway. And this is the Jesus deal, folks. There's 12 of these bulls. We're herding them, and I'm thinking, what are we gonna do? You know, and I'm trying to get around in front. So they go up the embankment. They could have went anywhere. And there's a space about wide from this desk to that flag in between the bridge on Bruton Road, which crosses 635. That's an exit. And Newmarket Road is the road that I live on, and there's a bridge there. These bulls went through where the end of the bridge and the curve of someone's yard starts. These bulls went through that hole, and my dad had this gate open, and they went in a line like little gentlemen. All 12 of them. They crossed 2 busy streets by themselves, basically. I mean, we were out there, cowboys. They were from here to the front door. And single file. Went in that pasture, my dad traps them. So then we load up in the trucks to go find Lane and Cody went after the 2. They crossed the oncoming traffic through the embankment, followed them in into downtown Mesquite. Okay, so there's a couple of neighborhoods. One bull goes to the right, Lane's after him. Another bull goes off to the left down another street. So Pete's in a pickup, driving like a maniac and following this bull. Cody's coming, and they're driving up down the street. They can't find this bull. And so they're driving, Pete's driving real slow, and Cody's, checking backyards, see where this bull might have stuffed up. And here Pete heard somebody scream. He turned around and looked, and he said some old fella come running out of his garage, and this bull right behind him. And Cody was coming up the street and ran across and roped him. And Pete, and then they got another rope on him, pulled him around the trailer, how you do it, drug him up in the trailer. So my dad and I we're looking for Lane and his bull. Lane has roped this bull on, I can't remember, Major's Drive. And in this yard he was in, there was a big oak tree, and he roped this bull, and he finally got him stopped. He roped him on the pavement, and this bull run up going through the yards. Real nice St. Augustine grass front yard, big oak tree in the middle, and this bull has made a circle around this oak tree, and Lane made a couple of rounds around, so he had him dallied to the tree, because his horse he's on the 3-year-old, and it's going to give out on him. And, we'd never roped anything. Lane's already roped the bull, got him dallied around this tree, and when my dad pulled up with the trailer, the lady that owned the house in the yard that we had torn completely up, she has had time, he's been holding this bull, she'd had time to go in and make hot chocolate because it was cold and raining naturally. And Lane is sitting on his horse drinking hot chocolate, visiting with this lady he's never met, and they're big friends, but that's Lane Frost. It doesn't matter, but you know what? He's a cowboy and a great guy, and that's because he had great parents.
Well, I just want to say how generous they've been with their time. Whether it's the Pro Rodeo League of Women fashion show during the NFR in Las Vegas or any other event that raises money for the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund. I'm a proud recipient of the Lane Frost Award, which is an award for contribution to rodeo that they give here at the Fort Worth Talk Show. But the time that you've spent giving back to the sport of rodeo has not only perpetuated Lane's memory, but it has really helped the sport of rodeo bring recognition.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I just want to tell everybody we gave all the recipients one of the Lane Frost Bibles, and I have extra ones back there if anybody would like one. In fact, we've got more in the car if we run out, so anybody that wants one can have a Bible. So appreciate that.
How about a big thank you to Elsie and Clyde that make the way right down here to Fort Worth. We're so glad to have y'all in the bull riding family.
Well, and I'm so proud to have so many of our friends and our family here today. We have Wes Warren's here, Lynn Cutch from Utah, a good friend of Lane's. He probably made Lane's first bull rope he had up there. So, and just Lane getting to ride with you, and he would have been so glad to watch Chris Shivers ride. Every time I'd see Chris ride, I'd think Lane would have been so tickled about that.
Thank you. The Bull Riding Hall of Fame welcomes Lane Frost.
I just want to say that this is such an honor for Lane to be inducted in this Bull Riders Hall of Fame. I know it's fairly new, and we actually attended the first one and accepted for Freckles Brown, and Lane was such a fan of Freckles as he just thought Freckles hung the moon, and so just to be in with him, plus some of the other inductees. Denny Flynn was just somebody that Lane looked up to so much, and so this is just a true honor that Lane is being inducted in this Hall of Fame, and it's neat that it's in Fort Worth because when Lane was really young, we would bring him down here once in a while to Billy Bob's to ride in that bull riding that they have in there, and he wasn't even old enough to go into the bar, but we came down here a lot, and he rode there at Billy Bob's, and so this is an appropriate place for it, I think.
Well, from the time Lane was little, he'd always say, when I'm the world's champion bull rider. And he would be real honored, and he is, especially with all the guys with Clem McSpadden. He's a good friend of his. And they probably had some good stories, but I can't think of.
But we do have some other things that honor Lane. We give scholarships to the high school, at the high school national finals, and the high school there at Atoka, Oklahoma, that honors him. And then we have the Lane Frost Cowboy Bibles that we've given out, almost 300,000 of those. It has a picture of Lane on the front, and it's just a New Testament Cowboy Bible, and so we're proud of that also.